Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to learn about the dimensions of senior living. This event is back by popular demand and first presented in person earlier this month at First Presbyterian Church of Lakeland. So thank you to Sandy and First Presbyterian Church for inviting us all to serve on this panel and inspiring us to represent it virtually for anyone who was unable to attend in person. We have lots of value to provide today in a very short amount of time. So leave us your questions in the Q&A. Feel free to chat with us in the chat box, and we'll do our best to respond during our presentations or at the end. So as a part of the many dimensions of senior living, I'll be sharing ways to get help through life's transitions as it relates to downsizing or moving. Sorry about the delay here. I'm trying to get my notes screen to appear. So my name is Nicole Raymer. I'm a certified professional organizer and a certified senior move manager and the founder of Organized Haven. We are an A+ accredited moving, downsizing, and home organizing company that has been serving Polk County seniors and their families since 2013. Joining me on this journey in 2016 is my husband, Danny Raymer, who's also a certified senior move manager and co-owner of Organized Haven. And yes, he was my husband first. When we were in the field working together years ago, our clients used to always ask us that question, which came first? Were we married first, or did we work in business together first? And so I say today that we are still married since we no longer work in the field together. Organized Haven's professional organizers and senior move managers are trained and experienced members of NAPO, which is the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, and members of NASM, which is the National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers. We are NASM at Home Specialists as well, helping seniors age in place in their very own organized haven. So here is a quick list of the topics that I'll cover today: downsizing versus right sizing, decision making, moving, space planning, packing and unpacking, and who can help. These slides don't move very quickly. So this is a common feeling for those facing transitions, especially those who have a lifetime of accumulations to sort through and to make decisions on, whether they're moving or not. Determining where and when to start is overwhelming to most. Have you and your family discussed the need to downsize or even just declutter your home? The sheer thought of downsizing can bring about stress for my clients and for their families. Can you relate to that? Let's find out with a quick poll. Just take about 10 seconds or so and let us know, is the thought of downsizing or getting organized overwhelming to you? All right, so I'm going to end that poll. Thank you, 100% answered. So thank you for participating. I'll share those quick results. So out of the 100% that participated, 67% of you said yes, that it is overwhelming, that thought of downsizing or getting organized. And the other 33% must already be perfectly organized. But there is a reason why you're here today. So hopefully you will continue to get some value out of this. All right, so I'm going to close down that poll and move forward. Okay, so you'll hear some people call this concept right sizing. I think it's because they have the intent to put what they feel is a positive spin on their need or their goal to own less or the right amount of things. You can learn more about this topic and how to have more time and space for the things that are really important in life on my blog at organizedhaven.com. And a quick link to that can be found in the chat, as well as from our other panelists who you'll be introduced to soon. So what is the difference between downsizing and right sizing? I see the main difference to be the moving factor. So whether you need to move or not, having less clutter in your homes to collect dust or fees in storage is the goal, and that's the common factor. So whether you are downsizing or you're right sizing, your goal is to have only what you need, exactly where you need it, and can find it when you need it. Usually the first go at decision making requires an additional assessment later because the keep pile tends to be the largest. Now, if you're downsizing, the keep pile might need to be the smallest. The best way to get unstuck and make progress on your goals to right size is to sort everything into categories and edit those based on the things that you love, that you use, and that you can't live without. We find clothing to be at the top or near the top of the list for most overwhelming for our clients. But they also struggle with everything else in their home, downsizing a large amount of kitchenware, decor, paperwork, pictures, the list goes on and on. So how do we ensure that we're making the right decisions when downsizing or right sizing? We have to ask ourselves these tough but very realistic questions. Does it fit you? Does it still fit the life that you are currently living or want to be living? Have you worn it or used it in the last 6 to 12 months? Do you have to keep the entire 12-person dish set? It's essential that we're honest with ourselves in this process and that we give ourselves the permission to control the best use of our space. Now, I don't know how many of us on this call today are ladies, but I will say as one that that is one thing that we like to have is control. We all know it's up to us. No disrespect to the males in the room. I think you would agree. Enter that in the chat, whether you agree with that statement or not, man or woman. So moving is one of the most stressful things a human can do. But when we find what we find to be the biggest cause of a stressful move is being unprepared. It's really easy to get behind and for move day to creep up quickly. It takes time, it takes patience and organization, most of all, to put off a successful move in which the stress can be behind you the day after the move. So the best thing you can do is make a plan, sorting one area or category at a time and making good discarding decisions is really only one piece of the puzzle. One of the best ways to make these good downsizing decisions is to make a space plan. After all, what sense does it make to pack and move goods that you don't have room for where you're moving? That's a recipe for a really stressful move, one that makes unpacking and setup impossible. A senior move manager is your best resource for a stress-free move or an age-in-place plan. A trained and vetted member of NASM, as described earlier, is properly insured for all the services that they provide, such as packing and downsizing. They are also trained and experienced in serving seniors with hoarding tendencies or dementia and managing all moving parts of the most challenging of transitions. Organized Haven is NASM A+ accredited with Polk County's only senior move managers and is also licensed and insured moving and professional organizing. in those services. Our NAPO organizing specialists are professionally trained in residential organizing, life transitions, workplace productivity, household management, brain-based conditions, and team productivity. And no, you don't have to remember all of that. You can learn what all of that means and more on the site listed in the chat. So if you don't plan to tackle your downsizing, right sizing, or moving project on your own, look beyond the traditional mover for professional help in move management, in packing, in space planning, moving, move day execution and organization, unpacking and settling in, picture hanging, and last but not least, estate clearing. Your ideal estate sale will be fast. It'll clear all your household items, low cost, with an easy pickup of goods sold, easy to run, a payment collection processing system, very good advertisement, support, the safety and security of that support, and an offer of peace of mind. You can find more professional tips and resources on the blog as stated at organizedhaven.com. It will include an abundance of moving, downsizing, and organizing tips that will be sure to give you all of the support that you need. And I will move on to our next panelist, Lori LeGrand of Oasis Senior Advisors. And just give me a second to stop my share and start her share.
Thank you, Nicole. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori LeGrand with Oasis Senior Advisors. I live and work in Lakeland, and my territory covers all of Polk County. Oasis Senior Advisors is nationwide, so I do have resources not only for other states, but for other areas in the state of Florida. So some people want to move to different areas of Florida, and we can help you with that too. My job is to help you with my free services. I help find senior living options. I am certified with a certification from Senior Advisors. I did take a test for that. I did pass, so I am a CSA. I know my local market, which can save you time, money, and a lot of stress. Nicole talked about stress. That's what I'm here to do, is to eliminate that. We quickly identify and match families to the communities that'll meet your personalized needs. And we schedule the tours. We take the tours with you. We try very hard to provide unbiased guidance with an educated and informed decision regarding senior housing. We have a lot of options out there, and it's important that you know what's going to fit you best without running to every community. So we narrow that down for you and help you. Quick facts. Every day, 4,000 Americans turn 85 years of age. Over the next 16 years, the number of people over the age of 50 will grow by 74%. All of our baby boomers, we're ready. We're getting ready for you. By the year 2050, 81 million Americans will be age 65 or older. Seniors are the least likely to change residency in this age group. They're hesitant to move. So only 4% of older people moved, as opposed to 13% of the under 65 population. We want to stay home. And that's something people confuse me with, is that I'm going to make you move. No, I'm not. If the best option for you is for you to stay in your home with in-home care, I'm more than happy to guide you and direct you in that process. Next slide. There are all kinds of senior housing. We have independent living, memory care, assisted living. We have senior apartments. We have continuum care retirement communities called CCRCs. Some people go to a skilled nursing home, or there's residential care homes. We have, of course, every of these communities can be a standalone or a combination. And one thing that we used to have and is coming back, but is very limited still because of COVID, is adult day services. These adult day services are, the easiest way to explain it is it's a place that you can put a loved one, that they can do activities, be in a safe location, maybe get meals and things like that, and then go home in the evening. And like I said, because of COVID, that is very limited right now. So, just be aware of that. Okay. So what is assisted living? We all know what independent living is. We all pretty much understand memory care. But assisted living, or an ALF, is a housing, and I'm going to change the word here, community, for people that need supervision or assistance with the activities of daily living, or your ADLs. They also need coordination of services by outside healthcare providers and monitoring of resident activities to help ensure their health, safety, well-being. Assistance may include the administration or supervision of medication, or personalized services provided by a trained staff person. Assisted livings can help for people who are also having memory issues, and they provide so much more interaction. We have found that since COVID, one of the biggest reasons seniors want to move into a community, and remember, it's a community, not a facility, but they want to move to a community is because of isolation. Plus you get 3 meals a day, and the assistance, we can't mess up our meds. I'm not quite ready for senior living, but I could definitely use someone to help me with my medications every day, because I forget sometimes, did I do this? Did I take this at the right time? It can be confusing, and that's really a big thing. So what do families need? Well, they need a location. Where are you going to move? Do you want to stay in town? Do you want to move to a different city? Do you want to be near family? Maybe that's in or out of state. A complete move to a different town. So location is huge. Support. Well, right there, as you read it, can you tour with me? Yes, I will do that. What is my next step? Oh, do I need an elder law attorney? Do I need to connect with Organized Haven and get somebody to come in and downsize my home? Maybe I need an adult realtor, somebody who works with seniors. And what about legal support and financial support? And what can I expect? This is not a goal people have in their life. And that's why I'm here to support you. None of us say, oh, when I turn 65, I'm going to move into an assisted living community. No, that's not what happens. So financial, how am I going to pay for this? It's huge. It's expensive. I do offer a sheet that offers comparisons. What am I getting to what am I paying today? And also care needs. Are they going to meet the care needs that I have? We look at the health of the person. What is, some of the options I have as I age? Go ahead, Nicole. So I tend to bridge that gap. Even if it's home care, you know, we can put home care into assisted living. We can bring other services into assisted living. I am your connector with that. If you stay home, we can do, you know, are you coming from a skilled nursing? Are you going into the hospital? Do you know what is best for rehab? Oasis is there to help you. If you can no longer go home, I am there to help you and your family find, where should I live now? I can't be at home anymore. You know, so we look at the where and what's next. How are we going to best support you and the seniors? Here is the sheet I was talking about, or not this sheet, but if you look at this, absolutely. What do you pay every month? Now, some of this might be kind of high for you, such as your monthly mortgage. Hopefully you got in before the big cost boom and, you know, we are all paying higher rents, but list everything that you have here that you pay for. We don't think about it. You know, how much is the gas to get around to places? All of our communities offer free transportation to doctor's visits. Your taxes, your lawn service, groceries, you know, groceries, your meal prep, going out to eat, all of those things at a huge cost to your budget. And we don't, a lot of times we're not really honest about how much we're spending on food and drink. Well, our communities offer 3 meals a day plus snacks, plus parties. How about house cleaning? I know that I would move tomorrow if I could have somebody clean my apartment once a week. I'd be happy as a clam. And that's all included. Now, some of the things that aren't included are going to be your phone or major cable. If you want basic cable, that's always included. Your phone, of course, most of us use a cell phone. That is not included. They have stopped going to landlines. Some of the communities do offer that. So that's something I can help you with too. I know about that. So if you list your fees every month and then multiply it by 12, right? There's still 12 months in a year. And add your taxes into that and your HOA fees, you are going to see, you're going to have an honest comparison of what you are spending a month and what you can get. One of the reasons most people end up either in the hospital, rehab, and have to move into, it can be independent living, assisted living, or memory care, is falls. Why focus on falls? It's one of the leading causes or injuries, injury death for older Americans. And I can be really honest with you and tell you, my father died because of a fall. So, you know, it's personal. I know that falls are dangerous. And a lot of times when somebody falls, they're alone. So nobody's checking on them. You could lay there for 3 or 4 days, and it has happened. We all have stories of people who have fallen and not been taken care of afterwards. So 1/4 of Americans age 55 plus fall each year. Every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in the emergency room for a fall. Every 19 minutes, an older adult dies from a fall. That's scary. Falls result in more than 2.8 million injuries, which are treated in ERs annually, include over 800,000 hospitalizations and more than 27,000 deaths. Adjusted for inflation, the annual medical costs for fall injuries are $31 billion, and it accounts for 2/3 of the total, the hospital costs. So this is a little old. By 2020, the annual direct and indirect cost of fall injuries is expected to reach $67.7 billion. That's a lot. So again, my name is Lori. I own Oasis Senior Advisors, and yes, I do own my own franchise. We work on helping one family at a time. I come in, I sit down with you. I say, let's be proactive rather than reactive. I'd like to meet you in your home while you're safe instead of in rehab or a hospital. And look at the options that are available for you, and how you're going to pay for that. I consider myself a connector. I used to say I consider myself a matchmaker, but then I was getting very strange phone calls. So I'm a connector. I try to help people find out what's going to work best for them. And don't forget your VA benefits also. A lot of people miss out on extra money from the VA or long-term care insurances that are on their policy that they might have forgotten about. So those are all things that I can help you find. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you so much, Nicole, for this opportunity. There's wonderful people on this call that can answer your questions and help you. We are all available for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori, so very much. You are definitely a valued connector here in Polk County. Thank you for all that you do. So I will stop the share again, and now you can see us all. And I believe Patty is up with VISTE, Volunteers in Service to the Elderly. So give me just a moment to find her presentation. All right, and I'm about to share that screen. There you are, Patty. Take it away. And you are muted.
Hi, my name is Patty Johnson, and I'm the Volunteer and Events Manager at VISTE, which stands for Volunteers in Service to the Elderly. So we are a nonprofit organization in Lakeland, serving Lakeland, Bartow, Mulberry, and Fort Meade. And our mission is actually to allow seniors to stay home safely and independently for as long as possible. There does come a point in many times when that is not the safest thing for a senior, but while they are able to do so, the services that we offer help to make sure that they're checked in on, but also helping them with some of the financial burdens of groceries and transportation. And so, Nicole, if you could go to the next slide, please. That will show that in 2021, even during COVID, these were the services we were able to offer the seniors at no cost to them, thanks to Polk County, the citizens, the businesses, and the organizations that support us. So next year will be our 40th anniversary. And we were actually started by a group of Catholic and social service residents of Lakeland that knew that seniors needed a reliable source of transportation, safe and reliable. So you'll see here over 15,000 transportation trips just in 2021. Hot meals are served twice a week for those clients that can't safely fix their own meals. It's just a hot meal that helps so that they have one less meal to fix, actually two. But if they can fix their own meals, then we provide supplemental groceries. So a grocery cart full of groceries once a month. And so our services are to check in on the seniors, but also to provide these things. We have ramp builders. These are all volunteers except for the transportation that make this happen. over 1,000 volunteers serving almost 4,000 clients. But our ramp crew build about a ramp a week, again, to make sure that these seniors are not held captive in their homes because they can't safely navigate their steps in and out of their home. So our largest funding source is individual donors, and then grants, and then we are United Way partners. And so this is how we're able to do this successfully. There is one, when someone wants to be a client, they would call or come into the office Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And we would take their name and make sure that they are at least 70 years of age, and that they live in one of the 4 areas we serve. And then our intake department would go and do a thorough assessment to see what we could help that client with. We do have a service that is for anyone, does not have to be a client, and that is we take in durable medical equipment such as potty chairs, wheelchairs, walkers, and we have them inspected here and then turn around and give them out to anyone. So if you happen to know of anyone who's in need of medical equipment, please make sure to contact us. The number is at the bottom right of your screen now. And a few of the other fundraisers we have are in January and February of each year, called the VISTE Ball and the VISTE Open Golf Tournament. Lastly, I'd like to just share a quick story that happened just last week here at our facility. And this is a wonderful story of how a client got started on our services. So this gentleman called and he sounded very weak and actually quite pitiful. He said he was so hungry and feeling weak. And it turns out his wife had recently died and he was depressed and not eating much. So the front desk took his application. Our program manager quickly approved it. And then our intake department prepared his documents. And then our hot meals manager took him hot meal along with the paperwork that same day. And then she remembered that we had additional meals we could take him. And we got together some easy to prepare foods, groceries, and that was taken over by one of the managers here. And so by 1 o'clock, he had plenty of food. He had signed his paperwork and she had offered to heat up his food for him and chatted with him and generally showed him care and concern. He was profusely grateful, and we know that he is feeling more hopeful, knowing that he has some folks in Lakeland that care about him and are going to continue to bring him hot meals and other services as we identify them in the future as well. So to carry that on will be our volunteers that will be taking him those hot meals on their route. It turns out he has a beautiful dog who keeps him company. And so we have a new client, but he's got new friends, and that is what VISTE is all about. So if you know of someone that needs our services or someone that would be filled with joy by volunteering, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty, so much. I always learn something new when I hear you speak, even when you go over the same presentation over again, and hearing that lovely story just really wraps it all up in a nice little bow. It's all about the people who we do our great work for. So congratulations on nearing your 40th anniversary.
Thank you.
And thanks for all that you do. Next up, also a fantastic member of our community is Kari Gomez that you see here with Home Instead. And I have the honor of also sharing her presentation. So give me just a second. I don't have a lot on my desktop here, but somehow it's always challenging to find. Bear with me.
If you can't find it, Nicole, I can share mine.
Okay, that's so strange. I don't know why it's not showing as an option. I've got it open. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close out on the ones that are finished. And that'll help limit what's available. Thank y'all for your patience. Okay, here we go. Yep, you just have to limit what you have open. Okay, take it away, Miss Kari.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I'll forewarn you, this PowerPoint is slammed full of information. So we'll click through some of the stuff. If you want it, we'll be happy to share it as well. So as Nicole said, my name is Kari Gomez. I am the owner of Home Instead in Lakeland. We are a non-medical home health agency. Go ahead and click through a few slides, Nicole. So the biggest thing is that I want to talk about is what's the difference between home health and home care. Kind of, if you see the screen here, and I think Lori attested to it, and a few of us, I mean, everybody wants to stay home if they can. The really cool thing about home health, which is what home care that we provide, is we can go anywhere you call home. If you look at these numbers, like I said, 9 out of 10 adults say they want to stay at home. Like Lori stated, most people don't say, hey, I want to go move somewhere. 70% of those at the age of 65 or plus are going to need assistance of some sort. It may be minor assistance, it may be, 10, 12 hours a week. It may be more than that. 20% of over 65 are going to need help for 5 years or more. And then 1 out of 5 seniors discharged from a hospital will be readmitted. So part of obviously our goal in the home health, whether it's home health or home care, is to keep you out of the hospitals, keep you as safe as possible, so that you can enjoy life as much as possible. Nicole, you can go to the next one. Just go ahead and click through this slide a little bit. Everybody hears different terms. So there's visited nurses, home health, non-medical, private duty, companion care. Just keep on clicking. There's so many different terms and everybody uses it differently. Some people use it interchangeably. So that's fine, keep going. But there are a lot of overlap with things and there is a lot of confusion. So a lot of times, it's one of those things until you need it, you don't really necessarily understand all the different nuances in it. So make sure through the process that you're asking questions. I had someone call me just earlier today. They really needed skilled home health, not my home health. But they started with me and I was able to transition them on to other agencies that can provide the service that they need. And most of us in the home health agency, we do that on a regular basis. So go ahead to the next slide, Nicole. This is what I think is really cool that home care. So if you look at the bottom of the screen where it's purple, we can seriously go wherever someone calls home. So if you need help in your senior apartment, your independent living, at adult daycare, your private home, hospice care, nursing home, hospital, my type of agency can go anywhere. Part of that is because we are private pay, so that we're not conflicting with Medicare or Medicaid or any other insurances. We're not duplicating services, and we work collaboratively with those other agencies. So a lot of times we may start with a client in their private home, and as things progress, it may be a better safe option for them to move to an assisted living community or to a memory care community. But we're the familiar face, so we'll transition with them to those communities to help keep things copacetic and transition. And then eventually we may transition out, once they're settled into the community, the family has peace of mind, the client has peace of mind, we may transition out. We're also great advocates. So if someone can't go with them into the hospital, even through COVID, we were going into the hospital with our clients. So we were that voice, we were that advocate for them. Misconception. So this is talking about home health versus home care. So home care, the type of services we provide that are non-skilled, unfortunately at this point are not covered under Medicare. People overestimate the cost. So yes, it's private pay. So there is a price tag attached to it. But most people out of my clients need anywhere from 12 to 14 hours a week. Most clients don't need 24/7 care. So we always say they come in thinking they need this, but when we really whittle it down, they only need this much care, which makes it maybe, hopefully more affordable for them. And like I said, they may start with us, but then as their care needs increase, they may end up transitioning to another lifestyle in a community setting where it's an all-inclusive rate. And these, I always love this, the saying, the last one on the line, home care only provides companions or sitters. It's actually a pet peeve name of mine, because my staff are licensed, they're trained, they're certified, different spectrums, and very rarely do they ever just sit. So they're in there doing stuff. It may be stuff for the house, from light housekeeping and some laundry services, or it may be total bedbound care where the clients are completely dependent on us. So home health care. So this is where you, for example, you may unfortunately have had a surgery or an injury or a fall, and your doctor's saying, I want you to have PT or a nurse come in or something in the house. So that's considered home health care, where it is doctor's ordered, and that specific discipline comes into wherever your home environment is for said so many visits. That's covered under your insurance, whether Medicare or whatever. And the goal would be that they would eventually be able to leave. You reach your ability to ambulate or walk or transfer, whatever the case may be. So it's really specific task. So next, Ms. Nicole. Like I said, lots of different services, everything from the skilled to nursing to social services, and helping you get medical equipment as well. That's under your home health care. Next. And again, I mentioned this, so we can just slide right by that home health care is under your Medicare guidelines. So this just again covers over what Medicare does cover through certain agencies, through certain services. They typically don't have Medicare covering someone to come out and do your laundry, unfortunately, when we all like to sign up for that, right? So next slide. Home care, which is what my agency provides, again, is individualized care plans. It can go from a few hours a day up to 24 hours a day. It could be something just to give a family a respite. Maybe your daughter is a caretaker, but they want to go to a graduation or a wedding or go on vacation. We're an agency that can come in for so many hours a week or something like that. And then when they come back, they're back in charge. So it does typically cover an hourly rate as well. Next. Again, I touched on this, but it can be everything from light housekeeping to meals to transportation, all the way up to companion care to bedbound care. Some of our clients use specific transfer devices, aid, help in the shower, dressing, bathing. There is some medication, but there are still limits of what we can do in the home. And at that point, we would work with other partners. This is something that's big. There's different types of home health care out there. There's agencies such as mine. So my employees work for me. So I cover all their liability, their training, their bonding, workman's comp, the whole kit and caboodle. There's registries that are out there, and those are typically pre-screened contractors. So there is differences on what the cost will cover and what liability falls back on the client. And then, of course, there's always independent home care workers, so who are out there working on their own. The biggest thing is, like I said in the beginning, is make sure you're understanding what you're getting. Where does the liability fall? What background screens happen? If something happens in your home, a vase of value gets broken, who's covering that replacement cost? And every one of these agencies, registries, or independent would be completely different. So it's all about doing your homework and your due diligence and what you're most comfortable with. Next. Home care payments, like I said, mostly private pay. There are long-term care insurance policies out there that cover us. I work with 33 different companies right now. Some people do choose to use reverse mortgages. There is Medicaid, veteran assistance, and some Medicare Advantage. They're starting to creep in. Not a lot of that just yet. And there's some grants through some local organizations that also provide so many hours a week. One is called Hilarity for Charity. And a lot of churches in the area, the Alzheimer's Association, have some grants as well. The biggest thing, as I said, is making sure that someone's safe at home or wherever they call home. So it could be safe at home in an assisted living with a little extra one-on-one attention. So we do a lot of transition from home. So when clients first come out of the hospital or rehab, where they just need a little bit more help than normal, we may have some increased hours, but then making sure that they're getting to post-op or post-hospitalization appointments, making sure they're getting their medication, trying to keep them out of going back to the hospital. And then 9 times out of 10, the hours will be decreased after a few weeks, and then maybe altogether. It just depends on that individual. Next. And nutrition is a big thing. I know Patty alluded to making sure people have good meals and stuff like that. Many of our clients, some of them do get assistance from VISTE or Meals on Wheels, but it's amazing. Some home cooked food is so much better than too many prepackaged with all the sodium and different things like that. Just a healthier overall lifestyle for our clients. We do a lot of, like I said, with the transition, working with the hospitals. I'm working with 2 guardians right now, trying to get their clients out. So making sure that all the equipment and things like that is involved. So we want to make sure when they get home, everything's in place with us and the skilled home health. Should be rounding the end. Medication is a big one. We know how quickly simple medication errors or lack of taking medication can cause issues. So that's a very individualized part of the care plan. There is not one plan that works for everybody. So we want our clients to do as much as they can for themselves, but we want to support where we can as well. And communication. We have someone on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if one of our employees gets sick and has to call off, then we can restaff it. If something happens in the middle of the night at a client's house, we have someone that is on my team able to call. And the same thing with the home health. If something happens and someone has a fall or a wound or something like that, we actually work with all that communication as well. Here's a good one. And if you just look at the second one there, checking the household fridge for expired foods. It's something we do on a weekly, monthly, bi-weekly basis, depending on the individual, making sure that when we're not there, that the clients aren't eating foods that are expired, which obviously we know what that could lead to. So, but yep. And social engagement. I mean, our caregivers and our clients become like family, and they're taking them out. We have clients that go out all the time to different events around town, take walks around the lakes, and just have someone just to watch Gunsmoke with sometimes. So, but like I said, biggest thing, ask the questions. If you're looking at whether you're looking at hiring an independent contractor, a registry, or through an agency, background screenings, licensing, bonding, these are all very important thing. Unfortunately, we all like to trust everybody, but unfortunately, sometimes we hear those horror stories as well. So you want to make sure you're doing the best that you can to make sure that you have a safe, reliable person in your house. And there's just some more questions. Like I said, we'd be happy to send this out if anybody specifically wants one. So, but that's me, Kari with Home Instead. We're right here in Lakeland, across from Lake Mirror and the fire stations. So we hear a lot of sirens during the day. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Thanks. Thank you, Kari, so much. I always learn a lot from yours too. So thank you for all that you do for the community. That whole 24/7 availability thing, that's amazing. And yes, we see in what we do a lot of expired foods and medications. So that is so important. Last but not least, we have Dana Mercaldi with Mainstay Senior Living that has lots of exciting options to share with us. And I too have her presentation and can get it loaded quickly this time. So one more step.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dana Mercaldi. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Mainstay Senior Living. You may know us more intimately here in town as the Grace Manor communities, the Manor, Osprey Manor, and Ansley Park and Bridgewalk on Hardin. Those are our local communities. We do range our communities from Tennessee on down to Central Florida. I have 30 years experience in senior living, and all of them have encompassed Lakeland. I'm a Lakeland native of many generations, so I've worked my entire career serving seniors here in the last 5 years here for Mainstay Senior Living. Mainstay is the only Lakeland-based family-owned senior living community organization that has 6 here in town, 1 in Plant City, and then the rest span up north. So with our first slide, we talk about senior living being a circle and a continuum. And retirement living is where we start out. With 55 and older communities that usually have deed restrictions that attract seniors that want an active lifestyle with as much independence as possible, but still can drive. Some still work. Obviously, many folks still volunteer, and they do this without much support services outside of the actual community that they are choosing to live in. Next. Independent living is a great resource too. Seniors love that because it still gives them the privacy of having their own space and can create their own schedules for the day while having great benefits like activities, cleaning, laundry, dining plans, and just knowing that they help us just a bit away with having some resources if they need it. Next. Assisted living, which Lori told us about in some good detail, and I would mirror that to say that in Florida we have 2,000 assisted livings according to seniorliving.org, and growing all the time, as we also talked about the growing tsunami of seniors and how we're needing to serve more and more people. We also didn't plan on the pandemic bringing so many more residents to Florida in general of all ages, but even more so with people that are reaching their retirement years. We're seeing that people are taking earlier retirement to come on down and to get situated, which creates more need for senior living. So assisted livings do start the care continuum where a doctor's order is needed, and we do have skilled and licensed people within our communities, but it does offer meals, as Lori talked about, parties. I invite you to look at our Facebook pages as we near the end and can see a backdoor look into what our community is like. Assisted living is also for the senior and their family of a loved one who can no longer stay at home independently. So it does differ that way, and it starts our care continuum. Next. Memory care is a wonderful resource. This is actually a photo from one of our communities of our residents fixing to board the bus for an outing. But it's a great resource because families do try to keep their loved ones at home or a more independent setting for as long as they can, until it just becomes caregiver fatigue, and it makes it impossible to be around the clock awake for someone. We take that responsibility on, and we do have around the clock activities and also periods of rest for our residents. The engagement also is something that residents can thrive on once they move in with us, and continue to have great memories and great activities and rest and meals and nutrition based on their schedule and their needs, while family members and loved ones can resume their life but still have the connection and make memories with their loved one. It's usually one of the most difficult decisions in senior living, and we are well versed in talking with families and walking that path with them. Whether it's a move-in tomorrow or if it's a year from now, we hold their hands and walk that path with them for as long as they need to, until the decision needs to be made. So memory care is a great resource and one that we're proud to offer. Next. Skilled nursing and rehab is also something that Mainstay Senior Living provides. Skilled nursing and rehab is a short-term stay or a long-term stay. Skilled nursing and rehab can offer physical therapy for after an accident, like a hip fracture or a medical procedure, where someone needs to get physical occupational speech therapy or nursing care until they can resume their independent life back home or transition into one of our senior living communities. It's the most medical model of all senior living. It is where a 24/7 alert, awake nursing staff that's licensed is around the clock. We do have in-house practitioners. Physicians are also visiting, as well as medical directorships. There's licensed clinical nursing facility staff and governed by ACA and other medical and licensing bodies. It usually comes with other medical settings. So our residents and our patients there will come from hospitals, other nursing facilities, and then sometimes from home. We accept more complex needs in the skilled nursing and rehab community than in assisted living based on our licenses. And we accept funding from medical insurance and government funds, as opposed to private funds, which are more in the assisted, independent, and retirement living communities. Next. Again, in Lakeland, we have Osprey Manor, which is independent living, the Manor Lake Morton, which is assisted, Grace Manor Suites, assisted on the north side, Ansley Park, which is now open in the Oak Ridge area for assisted living, Grace Manor Lake Morton Memory Care, and Bridgewalk on Hardin Skilled Nursing and Rehab. Please visit us at our website, find us on social media at any of our communities, and you're always welcome to show up for a tour at any time. We always welcome new neighbors.
Thank you so much, Dana. Wow, what an excellent array of options you have as a continuum of care for those who are not aging in place in their homes and have the needs that you're able to solve. And I meant to also thank you, Kari, as president of Better Living for Seniors of Polk County, for collaborating with us and sharing this with our network here in Polk County. We also have the Sage Aging ElderCare Guide that did the same. And so this event was on the ElderCare Guide calendar that is also on the Better Living for Seniors website as well. And Dana, you had an excellent idea to share something on behalf of Sage Aging ElderCare Guide to help you in your search for a senior living community for your needs. So at the end of this webinar, your computers will automatically take you to that resource. It will also be shared. This recording will be shared for all of those who weren't able to attend today or earlier on this month in person. So anyone who wants to watch it in the future will be able to do so as well. I know it was a lot of valuable information. Do we have any attendees today that had questions for any of our panelists? I don't see any in the Q&A or in the chat, but we could also take this opportunity if any were submitted in advance, if any of you have frequently asked questions that we can end this meeting with, we can for sure do that. But all of our contact information also is shared in the chat. So if you don't have any questions now, feel free to share the chat, and we'll also share that as well on our social media pages when we share the recording. It's 2:00 now, so we've taken an hour. I think we did a great job at making sure that we were able to cover all of that fantastic material in an hour's worth of time. Would you agree?
Yes.
So thank you, ladies. Did you have anything else more to share before we end the webinar today? I will end then with one share. Organized Haven is hosting a spring bazaar for anyone who is spring cleaning and even just has a box, a small box of donations that could go to benefit Lakeland Volunteers in Medicine. So if you see the Facebook page for Organized Haven, you'll see that shared. I'll do another post with it to bring it up to the top here today or tomorrow. So go ahead and go through those closets and cabinets. Be brave and let go of those things that are not serving you in your life anymore. And if you needed me to pick up anything, you'll see on the Facebook page a way to get in contact with me to schedule that. We really need the donations by tomorrow, but latest Friday. The event will be again at Organized Haven this Saturday from 8 to 12. So whether you're donating or shopping, come to see us and help us support Lakeland Volunteers in Medicine. And thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for doing this.
Thank
Glad
you,
I got
Lori.
to participate. Always good to see everybody. Dana, good to see you.
You too,
And
Lori.
we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Lori.
Bye.
I'm so glad you were able to do this one
Me
for
too.
us today.
Yeah, me too.
So I
Okay.
appreciated seeing you as well, especially with the busy day that you had today.
Well, yep, that's okay. All right.
Bye for
Bye,
now.
Nicole.
See you soon.